John D'Elia had a prestigious position as head chef at Marx Brothers, but that also came with a lot of pressure. For the first time, we're hearing from his family and friends, and they have poured through the pages of the Anchorage Police Department's investigation here, but they still have questions about exactly what happened that night. John D'Elia was one of Alaska's top chefs. His resume included Saks Cafe, Bridge Seafood Restaurant, Glacier Brewhouse, and Rustic Goat. And he also helped drive the area's food truck business with his very own Urban Bamboo.
He just loved being a chef.
For the past 10 years, D'Elia served as executive chef at Marx Brothers on 3rd Avenue. That's also where he died, almost 1 year ago on Christmas week.
And then I went home and had to tell my daughter that her dad was dead. And that was the worst day of my life, and probably the worst day of hers.
Shayna Wisdom was married to D'Elia until 2011. Their daughter, Kea, is now 15 years old. They still have questions about what led up to John's death.
Not knowing information is really frustrating, and he doesn't deserve that.
Wisdom says D'Elia was under intense pressure at work, especially during Christmas when he's expected to cook more than 200 turkeys. The prep kitchen is located outside, in the back of the restaurant, down the stairs. Workers say, due to lack of security, they'd carry guns.
John was working one night, and someone walked into the restaurant, put her apron on, and started trying to cook himself a meal. I mean, you never know.
Chris Jones worked as a prep cook at Marx Brothers and was John's best friend. He and Wisdom say Anchorage police told them D'Elia somehow shot himself with his own gun.
It appears it was an accidental discharge. He was alone in the restaurant late at night. His gun dropped somehow. It was an older Russian pistol. Didn't have as many safety mechanisms on it, and it shot.
Some of them don't have the, like a striker fire, because it's hammered. So if you drop a hammer fire, you have an Alec Baldwin situation.
According to the police report, the bullet traveled through D'Elia's bladder and pelvis and then into his back. A police sketch of the prep kitchen shows where D'Elia was lying on the floor between the butcher block and the sink. About 10 feet in front of him, labeled as item number 2, is where officers found his gun, inside a milk crate. The report states the death appeared to be suspicious due to a gun found at the scene and the location of the bullet wound. Records show D'Elia's death was first investigated as a potential homicide. Tell me, just list off, what were the rumors that the APD investigated in this case?
That it was a drug deal gone bad, that there was a shootout down there, that he was living a double life, that there was Sons of Samoa gang were involved.
Then the autopsy report came back, indicating there were high levels of meth in his system, which may have accounted for his erratic behavior.
He probably hadn't slept in days leading up to this, and it appears there was meth in his system, which I didn't know about, my daughter didn't know about, so he was very functional, but I also know he would work for days on end.
This past August, 8 months after his death, APD then closed the case and labeled it as unfounded, or not criminal in nature. The report concluded the handgun was tested and there was no DNA other than the victim's. But many details were never provided to Wisdom or Channel 2 in a final written report. So how do we know what the case status is?
Just what the officer told me when she called.
Well, what was that?
That it was closed, it was accidental.
But we don't have any paperwork.
Nope.
Have you requested it?
Yes.
And what happened?
And I've received this pile of 100 pages of interviews.
And no answers?
Right.
How does that make you feel?
Frustrated.
For Wisdom, questions about John's last moments linger.
How long did he lay there? Did he bleed out? Did he, and none of that's in the report either.
For others, that awful night will haunt them for the rest of their lives.
I went downstairs and had to clean up, remnants of where my good friend was.
We reached out to the owners of Marx Brothers, Richard Van Hale and Jack Amon. Although they haven't reached out to D'Elia's family, Amon told us he expresses his deepest sympathies to Wisdom and her daughter, Kea.